Revenge, the act of inflicting hurt or harm on someone for an injury or wrong suffered at their hands. A subject and feeling used pretty often in today's entertainment media. Whether it be movies, shows, animes, video games, it's everywhere. But how many times have you actually wanted to take vengeance on someone? Do you think you have the drive to actually see it through? Or would you move past it and go on with your life? Tales of Berseria is a story about how our main character does whatever she can to achieve her goal. She's not the hero, but she blows shit up, puts a city in economic crisis, kills anyone that gets in her way, and so much more. But she's not an evil person. Let me brief the story real quick. You play as Velvet Crow, who's also the first female protagonist in the Tales game. She's on a quest to kill her brother-in-law Artorias for sacrificing her brother to save the world. It's pretty basic, but the story goes through so much evolution and twist by the time you get to the end. You're rooting for certain situations to happen and feeling bittersweet during certain moments. It sounds vague, but I'm trying to keep this as non-spoiler as possible. Like, the last Tales game I played was Tales of Zestiria, and it was awful. I'm sorry if you've ever had to play that game. It's one of the most mid games I've ever played, and it was also one of the most mid stories I've also ever experienced. Mixed in with the 50-hour base content made me want to go insane with it. These games are about their stories more than anything else, and the story of ZESTIRIA is kind of garbage. It's a very generic save the world chosen one story with no real interesting takes. I had to force myself to play the game. Why did I want to finish it, even though I didn't like it? I don't know, maybe I just like to hurt myself. But Berseria is a good story. It's a prequel to ZESTIRIA, and because of that, ZESTIRIA made my experience with Berseria better. I would still not recommend ZESTIRIA to play though. But Berseria, however. Berseria is really cool. I love how much drive and ambition Velvet has to achieve her goal. Being a Tales game, I was ready and expecting it to be another hero story. But Velvet is kind of a bitch. And I kind of like that. I'm learning things about myself. She doesn't really care. She knows what she wants and she does whatever she can to get what she wants. And I respect that so much. But she's not unlikable. It's like you can understand where she comes from and you never really deviate on what she wants. She does things to her own benefit to get closer and closer to killing Artorias, and she's not the only great character either. Every character that's going to be in your main party are really interesting. Their interactions work really well with one another, and it also just makes you really want to learn more about the character. And thankfully, you can do these things called skits that they're basically like visual novel-esque scenes that show up every once in a while. They're optional, but they're there. And they're also voice acted, all of them. And they're really well done by dub or Japanese, whichever you prefer. The English dub is really good though. I played all of the skits that were given to me during my playthrough. I don't remember how many I've gotten, but I just was so intrigued by all the characters that I wanted to see more and more about what they think and what they feel about one another, what they're like just going through in general. I wanted to see how they developed. I wanted to see how they grow, because from the start to the end of the game, everyone grows so much, and I love seeing good and interesting character development. I can't touch on everyone, but I'll touch briefly on the gang. Rokuro and Aizen, those are your bros. They're dope. They kind of have a bromance going on in the game, and it's wholesome as fuck. They drink, they shoot the shit, they feel like such homies who have your back for the whole group. Megumi is annoying as hell. talking like she's always in a theater play. She's super fucking dramatic, but she becomes one of the most like deep and interesting character towards the middle of the game. She becomes more than this like comedic relief character, which she still is, but she just has all these like mysteries and interesting things going on around her that you want to learn more about. You end up just like liking her. I mean, for me at least, I didn't think she was annoying anymore. Eleanor is in this constant struggle in what she wants to do, trying to understand what is right and what is wrong for her. She has this sense of righteous justice that she feels conflicted with because she starts to understand and empathize with the demons and the Moloch in the game. If I didn't explain what Moloch were, they're just spirits in the game. There's really nothing more to it. And then we have Laphicet, an emotionless vessel at the beginning of the game who learns to grow a heart and his morals from the rest. Velvet and Eleanor act like big sisters for him, and Aizen and Rokuro also act like his big brothers. He is also a baby. I love him. He's an angel. I put a halo on him because he's pure and no one hurt him, please. After all that, you've got a pirate, a witch, a demon, a spirit, a yaksha, and an exorcist. Just a family of misfits that support each other while doing their own selfish things. They all just work, but also keeping conscious on what their goals are. This game even has a couple of animated scenes that look absolutely gorgeous. They're animated by a studio called Ufotable. You might know them. But as much as I love the story, this is still a game at the end of the day, and I do have to mention the combat. And it's kinda alright. I had to put the game on hard to feel engaged with it. It's real-time combat, but in a very average way possible. Each button can be set up to do a combo, and you can mix and match the buttons to do different combos, but in the end, it just kind of feels like a button masher with item micromanaging. The important thing about this game's combat is just recognizing the enemy's weaknesses and matching your combos to make sure those weaknesses will beat them. If I didn't put the game on hard, it would have been really easy, which I guess is just a personal preference of mine, but I like a challenge. I like having the feeling of getting my ass kicked and the game putting me in my place, which totally happened at the last fight because I kept getting one shot and I just didn't care at that point. I just wanted the story more than the challenge, and I put the game back on normal. Congrats, Berseria, you win. There's also more meh parts about the game. The levels are kind of boring. I think they feel like just like areas with just poor execution. Dungeons are linear as hell. The overworld are just like pieces of land stitched together, and it just feels like there's no real purpose for it being big. And with it being big, I had this thought. I was like, man, I wish I had something to help me like travel faster. And of all things they could have given me in this fantasy-esque game filled with magic, monsters, and spirits, they give me a literal hoverboard. Like, I don't get why. Of all things they could have given me, they could have given me a mount. They could have like just let me teleport. No, they gave me a hoverboard, and I will never forget this. The music isn't really anything to talk about either. The opening song, which is very anime as hell, is made by Flo. You know, Jabunwo. Absolute legends, but the actual music made for the game is very subpar, I think. They do the job, but they're so forgettable. Like, I see a few others saying that the music is great, and I just honestly can't comprehend it. One of the tracks that you're introduced to when you play as Velvet after the tutorial area sounds like a really bad heavy rock theme, but all of the instruments sound like they're made from a Casio keyboard. Like, the guitar and bass just don't sound real to me. Also, the puzzles are like if gaslighting was a puzzle. And what I mean by that, I feel like I'm being either really trolled or the devs just really didn't care about the puzzles. The puzzles are just a bunch of locked doors and you just need to turn the switch on to open them, and that's literally it. And that's also it for the entire game. Wow. Those things I was able to look over though. If you can't, then this game probably won't be for you, but I promise if you give the story and the characters a chance, they'll leave you with something special. Overall, the game is quite a ride with some real memorable moments. It honestly just feels like you're playing an anime, which is what I really wanted. And if you're looking at like average playtime to complete the story, I got done with the game on around 51 hours. That's with a little bit of the side content. It probably could be shorter if you don't watch all the skits. I don't know if this is a good or bad thing. That's up for you to decide. The game definitely has a lot of content though if you're into that. I had a good time playing this game. It's been a while since I played a JRPG, and I've kind of missed them. I was actually really scared to play this game, thinking I was going to have another ZESTIRIA experience, but I came out pleasantly surprised. I've recorded like 5 outros and I fucked up all of them, so I'm just gonna say, please like, comment, and subscribe to the video. You know, YouTube things, they help. If you're interested in watching me play video games, I stream on Twitch sometimes. I'm still looking for another game to do a video on, so if you have any recommendations, please shoot them at me. Until then, I hope you guys have a nice day.